let's give a warm welcome for a person very important in the space, BitBoy.
Wow, that was an impressive jump. Impressive jump. Keep doing that, you're gonna poke your eye out, be careful. Hey guys, my name is Ben Armstrong. Most people know me, obviously, as BitBoy. BitBoy Crypto is obviously my channel, my company. Hit Network is my company, and you know, it's been an interesting few years for sure for me and our growth and things like that. And you know, the thing is that the further I go into this, the more I feel like crypto adoption is further away. And it's really the kind of thing that's like, you look at the internet and how the internet blew up. And 1991, the public internet, the World Wide Web, was introduced by Tim Berners-Lee, and that was what brought people to the internet. Now, I started using the internet probably 1995, probably in the 7th grade. Now, very early on, I heard about somebody talking about fantasy baseball, and I was like, what is that? Because I was loved baseball when I was a kid, still do. And so that was the first, probably 1992 was the first time I ever heard anyone talk about this internet. And you fast forward through adoption, you look by 1996, 97, like, man, we had full-blown adoption for the internet, right? I grew up in a very interesting time where when I started school in kindergarten, there was no such thing as the internet. I'm like in between a millennial and a Gen X, I guess. I'm right in the middle. Depends on where you look up, you know, what ages the names are attached to, but like some consider me a millennial. I was born in 1982. Some consider me Generation X. But the weird thing is there's about a 5-year window there from 1980 to 1985 where all of those people started school and there was no internet. And by the time we finished school, it was all we used was the internet. You know, like already all your papers were typed. You know, you weren't doing writing by the time I was in high school, really. They want to know you could write sometimes. Floyd Mayweather rip. But the point is that people don't really see the true story of the internet, though, right? We look at that, we say, man, adoption in like 6 or 7 years. And we look at Bitcoin, 2008, the white paper was written, 2009, in January it debuts. And still, we don't have anything what we would consider to be adoption. Your average person has never used Bitcoin. Your average person in 1995, it was approaching where the average person had used the internet before. But the thing is that it's really not a good comparison. And the reason it's not a good comparison is because, does anybody know how old the internet actually is? The first time we had any iteration of the internet, anybody know? How long? The 50s. 1950s, it's ARPANET. Heard somebody out there say it. ARPANET was basically for the military, and it was a way for them to communicate and send files back and forth. But it was basically them setting up all these servers around the world, and you could send information back and forth. But there wasn't like an internet. It was just a connectivity that they had. Fast forward, I believe it was in the 1970s, you had the first transaction ever on the internet. Did anybody know what the first transaction was? Did I hear somebody saying it? No. It was an MIT student selling some Stanford students some weed. That was the first transaction ever on the internet, right? So, you know, crypto's for criminals. Hey, I don't know what the legal status is today in every state, but I know in California, it was illegal then. And I know in Massachusetts, it was legal. So, right, so I got the same story of the internet. What happens is that the military decides they want to use a different infrastructure, and another company comes in and buys ARPANET, and it's kind of what starts moving it into the internet. But it still was not searchable. You couldn't do anything with it until 1991, and we had the World Wide Web debut, but we also had the Netscape moment, right? People keep talking about the Netscape moment. This is the moment when everything changed for the internet, to where you actually had a tool that you could use to go crawl around the internet. Now, when I was a kid, you know, we thought that AOL was the internet. How many of you guys used AOL? Okay. Not AOL Instant Messenger. That was like the next iteration, right? I'm talking about original America Online. I thought it was the internet. Like, it would be like today if you were on Twitter or X.com, whatever, and people were like, hey, did you know there's like an internet outside of Twitter? And you're like, no way. Like, I got everything here, you know? Like, I got chats, I got blogs, there's gaming stuff I can click on. And back then, AOL, it had like all these different, you know, chat rooms you could go into. I remember the first time I talked to a girl in a chat room. That was a good story. I was in the 7th grade, and I don't know, like, I know now I'm like extremely successful and good looking, and I drive a Lamborghini, and I'm very desirable, obviously. Back in the 7th grade, not so much, not so much. Struggled with the girlfriends, and so the first time I talked to a girl in the chat room, I was like, I'm gonna marry this girl. This is the one, you know? I was in the 7th grade. And I had to go to my dad's house for the weekend because my parents were split up and different stuff, and I just remember like, oh my gosh, I have to cut this conversation off with this girl. This could be the rest of my life I'm ruining right now. Like, that's what it was like getting on America Online and getting in the little chat rooms and stuff. It was like a whole new world, you know? And, you know, so the fact is there was a whole internet outside of that, and I didn't know how to access it. So I remember the first time I used Netscape Navigator, and it was this moment where it's like, oh, like there's this whole other thing out there. You can search. Ask Jeeves was like the main search engine everybody liked back then because it's like, you're asking it a question. It's like AI. You're asking the AI a question. It's giving you an answer. No, dummy. It's using your keywords and just bringing up search results. Like, well, you really thought that Jeeves, he had all the answers. And so it was a very primitive experience. The pictures would load. It would take 5 minutes for this logo to open up on the original internet, or the original, you guys know what I'm saying, the internet back in the day. And like now, if it doesn't load instantly, like we're upset. And the whole point here is, I'm trying to build into you guys, is that the internet was always there for so long. Most of our lifetimes, it was there the whole time. But we just didn't know how to access it, and we didn't know how to use it. And then what happens is, we get this tool that allows us, we get a thing that happens, which is the World Wide Web becomes public. Then we get a tool to use to be able to actually make use of the internet. And I know people say the Wild West is, or crypto is the Wild West. I mean, we're still in the Wild West days of the internet, in my opinion. It's still brand new. 200 years from now, it's gonna look a lot different. But this is where Bencoin comes in. So I don't know if you guys know the story on how we acquired this project. It's a long story. But Ben stands for Be Everywhere Now. And we've got our logo here. And everything in here is methodical, right? The 3 arrows, it's kind of like be everywhere now is kind of how I envision it. But the blue to red as it moves, or blue to orange as it moves from the left to the right side, it's because right now, the world is cold on crypto adoption. It's a cold world out there for crypto adoption, especially in a bear market. Always feels like it's further away in a bear market, and feels like we're there when Bitcoin's at all-time highs, right? And it moves over here to red, or orange. We want to move crypto adoption from cold to hot. We want to be the group that finally says, you know what? I'm tired of waiting on somebody else to do something. I'm tired of waiting on somebody else to make something. And I do believe that one day we are going to get, I believe we're going to get some tools that are going to make crypto a lot easier for people, right? We got to get rid of seed phrases and addresses, right? Like, we need to have a better way to do that. Right now, the average person, when they look at it, they say, oh my God, that is like cryptography, if they know what cryptography is. It's like a code almost, And your average person, when you're talking about the difference between a public address and a seed phrase, like, they just don't get it. But then you have these centralized exchanges, centralized wallets where you got a username and password, but you don't have your keys. So I know there's a project, I don't even know if it's still functional, I think it is. And I'm not like trying to promote this company, but there's a company called FIO. And I know what they were working on was trying to take your addresses and turn them into usernames through like a layer on top of chains. And that's the kind of thing we need, right? We need those things. We need something to come in. Like, how many of you guys use the internet today? Okay, how many of you guys used a browser today? Maybe not just an app, but browser. How many of you guys who just raised your hand could tell me what HTTP stands for? This is a little bit of a nerdy conference, so I know 2 or 3 of you, so let's just leave that there. No offense. I purposely don't know what it stands for. I use this example all the time, and I hear people say it, something transfer protocol. But like me, I just kind of block it out because I like the fact that I don't know that. I want to keep ignorance on that because it's a great example of we use things every day that we don't understand. And they're going on in the background. However, if you had to actually go into, I'm not a developer, but if you had to go into the back door of the internet and type in exactly how you're using the HTTP protocol, exactly how, you need to change some code so it works correctly, or so you go to the right place, you'd have no idea how to do that. I would have no idea how to do that, right? But yet we use it every day because it was simplified. The Netscape Navigator and the World Wide Web, they made it easier to navigate, no pun intended. And so the tool that's coming that's going to simplify everything, who knows, maybe it's X, maybe Twitter's able to do it, is one issue we're waiting on. But then there's also this issue of like, okay, the World Wide Web was like, the internet was around before, but it was the thing that pushed it into the public eye. And so we acquired this project, Bitcoin, and it started as a meme coin, and I don't like meme coins really. I think they have to move to a purpose, or they won't survive. They'll go to zero. And so what I wanted to do is, I wanted, when we acquired this project, to move it from a meme coin to something serious. And right now we're having our V2 smart contract created. And so we are bringing utility, and we're going to have a platform. It's an onboarding platform. But Bitcoin, it's something that people can't really be against unless you're a Bitcoin maximalist, right? We know the Bitcoin maximalists, they hate everything, and we get it. I would be mad too if I were them and missed out on all the altcoin gains. I mean, Bitcoin, like, I don't know, I think it was like a 2,100% increase in the last, from new all-time, from the bottom of the market to the top, I think it's 2,100%, something like that. Or maybe from new all-time high, the next all-time high, whatever it is. Cardano was like 16,000%, right? Like 8x Bitcoin, just in the last run. So, I'd be mad too if I didn't invest in Cardano or invest in ADA, and I was a Bitcoin maximalist. But the thing is that the Bitcoin maximalists may not like this, because this is about crypto adoption. That is what Bitcoin is all about. And it's taking a look at the space and saying, what are our problems? Like, what are the problems in crypto? And now, there's certain things I can't do, right? Like, I'm not a developer, I'm not a builder. I mean, I build stuff, but not in a development kind of way. And so, I can't be the person to introduce the new product. I don't know what the new product's gonna be. I don't know. Maybe it'll be our DeFi platform we're building, who knows? But the fact is that even though I can't build something, there's other things that I can help fix. I have a big platform, I have a big voice, I'm very loud, and I decided to come up with this idea to promote crypto adoption through these 4 things. So the four pillars, we call them the 4 pillars of crypto adoption, okay? You have public awareness, policies and regulation, you have education, and you have transparent media. And these are the 4 areas we're gonna be working on. So built into our V2 smart contract, we're gonna have a buying and selling tax for the coin. What we discovered, we were originally trying to fund our initiatives off of our liquidity pool profits, but the market has crashed, and we've seen that probably isn't sustainable. So we've got a new tax built in to the V2 smart contract. It prevents people from panic selling, and then also it prevents people from doing a lot of quick flips that hurt the price and things like that. So what we want to do is we want to establish some kind of stability, because really the focus of this project is on our initiatives, on what we're going to be doing. So off of those 4, we're calling them the 4 pillars of crypto adoption. Public awareness, what is this? Public awareness is billboard campaigns, newspaper campaigns, radio ads. Now, these are not radio ads for Bitcoin, right? Of course, sponsored by Bitcoin, that's going to be there. If you want to check out more, by the way, it's joinbitcoin.com, or you can see us on Twitter at joinbitcoin. But the thing is, these are not about promoting our coin, right? It's about promoting adoption. So, like the one bus shelter that we have right now, it says, this is the first one our community wanted, so the bin logo is very prominent on it. But the goal in the future is to just have the Bitcoin logo is kind of in the website, is kind of like a side note. The important part is the message. So I think the latest one we had, it says, DeFi your banks. And it's DEFI, DeFi your banks. And the whole thing is, people have to realize the banks are evil. The original we wanted, they wouldn't approve, which was short the banks if they let you, long on crypto. Because you guys know the stock market and the government is talking about people not being allowed to short bank stocks. So short banks if they let you, long on crypto. We want messages that are gonna be provocative and are gonna make people think, right? We want people to understand what we're really facing out there when it comes to adoption. So changing the public awareness, letting people know. I want to do it. This is one thing I want to do. Cryptoisascam.com, something like that, right? And on the billboard, it would be how crypto is a scam. And then all the people that hate crypto would go there, and they'd actually see no, it's just refuting everything you believe. So something like that, right? Provocative. Policies and regulations. We want to support through lobbying companies and our own efforts, smart policies and regulation when it comes to crypto on the state level as well on the national level. I think we're going to go back to attacking the state level. It's a way you build momentum, get some wins. So we're going to go into that. Crypto education. We've talked with Binance Academy. We would like to partner with them. I think it is going to happen. It's not official yet where we have partnered with them, but they were definitely open to what we were saying. We want to work together with Binance and also with anybody else that wants to take part to create a blockchain education accreditation organization. And what this would do is, it would, our BitLab Academy or Binance Academy, what it would do is it would make it to where these can be put in schools. and schools and colleges and universities can start using this because we don't have any good crypto education in schools. And then last, transparent media. Obviously, we live in a world where CoinDesk is owned by a digital currency group, gigantic conflict of interest. Then you look at Cointelelie, as I like to call them. I can't even really get into all the problems with Cointelelie. It's started by a Bitcoin miner, Grisha Fishman, as Bitcoin propaganda to pump the price in the early 2010s or so. And that's all they've done is use it as a manipulate. They've covered tons of rug pulls, and not only that, but they hid them. They covered them up. And they'll take $10,000 to do anything. They don't care. They vet project zero. Then you have the block, right? Alameda paid the block $27 million for biased coverage. So the media in crypto just is not transparent, and it's not. It's been dishonest. And so what we want to work on is a way that people understand. We're going to be doing our own news site. We're going to be doing investigative journalism, and what we want to do is we want to put out something that does not make money, right? So our plan is we're going to have a news site. There's going to be some things that are behind, what do they call that? Behind a paywall. Some things are going to be behind a paywall, which can be some tools and stuff. But the public information, it's 100% free. Nobody's paying for anything. We may take some money through Google Ads, maybe, if we do anything, but no one can ever pay us a dime to put information on that page. And that is going to be important. It's going to break up what people know, which is biased coverage. Coming into the space, you're coming in immediately to biased coverage, and that's a big problem. So those are our 4 pillars of crypto adoption that we're working on. That's what we're doing with Bitcoin. It's pretty exciting stuff. Our V2 smart contract should probably be out in about 2 weeks. And I guess that's all I got. Be blessed. Be well.
Claim your official proof of participation in Rare Evo 2023. Whether you attend physically or tune in on the live stream, you get a free NFT painted by Brendan O'Connell live from our Expo Hall floor, and you get whitelisted for the Rare Perks NFT presale. By claiming, you will be entered into a giveaway of multiple rewards, including the original one-of-one physical painting by Brendan, along with exclusive access and opportunities for Rare Evo 2024, including, but not limited to, free general admission and VIP passes, a 10x10 booth, workshop space, and more.